I think it's a new consciousness that's starting to come through the planet and starting to come through many people who have been on the path for a long time now.
Today has been a really tough day for me because I really had to face my own unconscious female.
A lot of the time, the unconscious female plays out without us even recognizing it. Whoa. Oh shit.
As a conscious female, I tune into my own life's mission.
The conscious female practices the art of divine alchemy.
And the unconscious me just loves creating pain and confusion, like Ciara said.
The unconscious female has mastered the art of victim blame.
I do so much for all you guys, and I get no thanks in return.
Let's do our work, and as a team I feel we can really support each other.
My own personal story of being stuck in the blame and guilt and shame game and total disempowerment led me to be handed a breast cancer diagnosis.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Edge of Consciousness from here in the beautiful paradise of Panama. Today I want to introduce to you our very first vlog back program. This is all in response to the article that we released last week called The Conscious Female. Today you're going to hear from 9 insightful, powerful, very wise and very conscious women about their views on this subject and their own personal experiences.
Hi, my name is Cathy Pearson. The subject of the conscious female is really not that talked about much. It's a new consciousness that's starting to come through the planet. I have been intrigued on a personal level with this subject of what it means to be a conscious female in the world. There's one piece that's ringing true for me to comment on right now, is this sort of false sense of power that women seem to get themselves mixed up in as women, that when we're being articulate and spoken and angry and powerful, we're taking charge of a situation, we're speaking up against something, and that's a sort of a power. And sometimes it can be. The real power is taking full and utter ownership of one's emotional weather and emotional responses and reactions.
So I love what Cathy's saying, because as a co-creator, we have to be responsible for all the situations that we create in our lives, and also for all the feelings that those situations push up in us. The conscious female takes responsibility for that all the way.
Whatever they might be, no matter what's going on around us, whether you're in the breakup of a relationship or a pandemic, or you're dealing with some serious grief, or you've had something very traumatic occur, how we choose to respond and react to those encounters determines really whether or not we are going into self-responsibility, which is really self-love, or whether or not we're going into making the situation something to hurt ourselves with.
My name is Yanni, and I am from Panama, and I am really honored to be part of this project of exploring this new conscious female and conscious feminine energy, because my own personal story of being stuck in the blame and guilt and shame game and total disempowerment led me to be handed a breast cancer diagnosis, and as a result of that I offered or came up with my breasts in exchange for my life, and I feel blessed to have experienced that journey and to be on the other side of it.
Wow, I really feel what Sarah's saying when she observes that this breast cancer is a result of these old female programs and behavior that really result in creating disease in our bodies if we don't transform it.
Because I think it is essential to bring awareness to this reality, and I love what Ciara wrote about how what she thought was the conscious female actually wasn't. It was still this old paradigm disguised as this supposed consciousness. In my experience, one of the most profoundly healing aspects of my own journey has been this opening up to the darkness and embracing the darkness and walking straight into the darkness with eyes open, loving all of ourselves, all of our being, and underlying all of it, it's all about love. It's all about true, unconditional love, first of all for ourselves and for all of us, because ultimately we are all one. Women, men, animals, plants, our planet, we're all one.
What I really love about what Sarah's sharing is that she's got the introspection to really observe these programs inside of herself, and she's on a conscious journey, and she doesn't see herself as a victim even though she got this diagnosis. She's a co-creator, and she's using it as a gift to evolve herself. That to me is a real example of the conscious female.
Hi there, my name is Jana. Today has been a really tough day for me because I really had to face my own unconscious female. I really had to see how she was not taking responsibility of how I was triggered, how I was using my vulnerability as a safety net, how I chose to see that the good friend who gave me feedback, how I chose to see it that he was criticizing me. Rather than really seeing what he was doing, he was fully supporting me, wanting the best for me, wanting me to shine and to be in my full power. I had to really see how resistant I was, and had to eat my humble pie and apologize, because that's not okay.
What I love about what Johanna represents here is that she's taking full ownership of herself.
And I guess that's part of our work here together as a team as well, is to let these hidden pockets come out, and they sure do when we look at this issue deeper.
She's seeing her unconscious female and she's observing it. And that's a really good example of what the conscious female does.
It's so important. I'm realizing more and more to take full ownership for that in and of myself.
So it's really, really good to have a conscious community of people around us to call us out on these things.
Slowly, I'm getting there to really delve into the subject and to understand the power of it, the power of going there. Hi, my name is Karina Arkush. Yeah, how I played that victim with particularly men in my life through partnerships. Attack him for something that I was feeling, for the hurt that I was feeling, instead of simply voicing my hurt.
I can really relate to what Karina's saying about going into this victim blaming towards your partner. And in my experience, underneath all this rage that my reaction carries is deeper feelings like hurt or abandonment or sadness. And they're my feelings. They've got nothing to do with anyone else. So it's my job to really embrace them and take ownership of them so that I can break this blaming cycle.
And blame him for a lot of what I was feeling. And then when I wasn't received or acknowledged in that, naturally, because it was a full vicious attack, unconscious vicious attack, and he pushed me away and pulled back, then I'd get even angrier and even, more blame.
I'm so excited to nail exactly what this unconscious female is, because it really changes our lives when we do that.
So when I noticed myself or my actions in this person that was coming at me with her victim blame, I didn't take it on, because I knew exactly that energy and I reflected it right back to her. I didn't let it in.
Karina's really providing structure here, because she's had the introspection to see her own unconscious female programming. She's able to then call it out when it comes towards her from another unconscious female. And by claiming that in herself, she's able to really step into her power in relation to other people's unconsciousness.
It was something that she was feeling within her, because I knew in myself that I had no ill intention. In her own way, she had hurt herself through that situation. She didn't want to look at that and acknowledge that, and so she was pushing it at me. And I think that is my understanding of victim right now.
Cathy Allman is a firecracker.
Hi, my name is Cathy. I've always been a very honest person to everyone but myself. I was never fully aware of what was truly happening back then until I had the pleasure of meeting Ciara a few years ago.
And she's really gone through the struggle of making that unconscious female real to the point where she feels that she's in this depression.
Back then, the unconscious me was far more powerful than the conscious me. I just didn't know what was happening. That was when I realized I wanted to do something about this. I needed to take more control over me.
And now she's really on top of this energy. She's really done the work to karma burn this and get on top of it. And that's a really good example of how you can turn this around and become the divine alchemist as the conscious female.
Words can't even express. Now, when the conscious me overrides the unconscious me through some kind of a disagreement with my husband or whatever the case might be, I just can't wipe the smile off my face because how well the conscious me is controlling the unconscious me now instead of the other way around. But when the conscious me is there, there's no pain. There's nothing. It's great. It's just a really good feeling, really good. And she mentioned in her article that the unconscious shadow of me that we all have experienced over time, well, back then mine was never a shadow. Mine was a very, very black, heavy, dark cloud. So today, I won't lie. There's times when the unconscious me tries to take over the conscious me and succeeds a very, very little bit. But the conscious me has her in check in no time. It's a wonderful feeling. I can't even describe it. Words don't even describe how good it makes you feel.
Hi there, I'm Doreen from Holland. We are 4 of us and we know each other from a long time ago, from childhood. Lately I feel that a little separated from the rest because I evolved and I'm more and more conscious. They were telling about their situation at home in this Corona time. The grown-up children are back in the house again without participating, or they're there as if it is a hotel. So the ladies were complaining about their husbands and about the children, that they are not doing anything in the housekeeping and having no me time and having to do everything in the housekeeping. How can you change that? You created it yourself. It doesn't have to be that way.
The unconscious female blames, complains, and basically just goes completely passive in her life. The conscious female is the opposite. She takes action and she finds a solution because she knows that's where her real power lies.
But I noticed that they didn't want to hear that. They just wanted to hear that I agreed and that I said, oh yes, I'm very sorry, oh it's difficult for you, and hang in there and that kind of things. So complaining with them instead of trying to see a solution or trying to see their own part of the whole situation. You can get out of a situation that you don't like if you just ask yourself the questions what you can do yourself to change the situation. But somehow they didn't want to hear what I had to say and they just kind of ignored it.
I can relate to Doreen's dilemma. I've been in that place many times myself.
And I felt isolated, decided to play along and, that's hard, I have the same here and we women have to do all the work, and agreed with them just to feel together again. It seemed like they want to hear that kind of stories from me and not self-search and do you want to change the situation. So maybe they just wanted to complain or just wanted to tell their stories.
So the conscious female isn't afraid to rock the boat. She has courage, she speaks her truth, and she allows people to have their reactions. Because when she does that, she knows that she builds a solidity and a self-trust that's really based on the power of the universe in herself.
But I don't know, for me it's difficult how to react because they're dear friends to me, but they're not on a conscious path. They are just living their lives. I notice it's difficult not to lose myself. If I want to be part of this friendship.
I've let go of a lot of friendships that have been based in this unconscious female energy. And what's replaced it is such incredible connection with conscious women that support me in real power and not in victim blame.
For me personally, my experience of the unconscious female, what I had highlighted to me was where I was in the martyr as a mom, doing everything for everyone. I'm also a solo parent. And a lot of the time I can get pulled into controlling way too much. So, and then I would move into resentment and anger. And I was in, this was me in that state of, I do so much for all you guys and I get no thanks in return. And so I was walking myself into that place. I was creating that for myself, but I didn't see that. You're controlling everything that's going on around you and you're not given the space for there to be enough beingness with yourself and with your children. So I really had to see that, and from that moment forth, it's created so much more open communication between me and my children. It's created much more love, much more connecting in many different aspects and ways that we would, be and live on a daily basis.
Hi there. My name is Dr. Tassel Shane Brooke. I spent most of my life really in the unconscious female paradigm. I bought into the idea of secondhand power.
So the unconscious female is driven by her need. But you got to be careful because behind need comes resentment. And often that's where this incredible anger and rage comes from the unconscious female, particularly towards men.
Through attaching myself to men, I absolutely felt I needed to be sexually attractive to the opposite sex. I felt I had to be pleasing to others, often really without any regard to my own wants and needs. To me, the conscious female, whom I believe I do embody now, it's about going within. It's about connecting with my own inner guidance for my own personal life and how I'm here to serve the earth. It's not relying on any external validation.
So the conscious female knows that the primary relationship she's looking for lives within her. And it's based on the intelligence of the universe that she's in this constant dance with, co-creating in every single moment. That becomes her love affair, and it leaves her wanting for nothing more.
It's really providing myself with love, my own self-love. As a conscious female, I tune into my own life's mission and co-create this with Source. And that, to me, is true power and alignment.
What I see in all of these women that are talking here today is that each of them has the willingness and the introspection to really look at this aspect of themselves.
Hi, my name is Laurel Ann. My journey from an unconscious female to a more conscious female. I've had many, many different experiences, all that I would not change to end up right where I am today. Some of them were fun, and some of them were not so much fun. Ended up into the energy healing modalities. which changed my life. Ciara is right on with her article that she wrote about the feminine. I feel like she was writing it about my life. The most important thing that I have learned on my journey to this point is how important it is to fill up from source instead of trying to fill up from something external to ourselves. I always was looking for someone, something to fill me up in a place where I felt empty. The subject of our journey from the unconscious to the conscious female. It seems to me so exciting when we do this, where we can go forward as far as our relationships. I am single right now, and I know that I don't want to go back to being the unconscious female in relationships in that way with a significant other. However, I'm very open to what it could be and what it could look like in the unknown as a conscious female.
We're not here to beat ourselves up for it, but we are here to step out of denial and take ownership of it, because that really is the conscious female.
So we're going to respond with, oh no, poor me, everything's happening to me. Get into the mindset of paranoia and fear.
And by doing that, we evolve beyond all these programmings into real, true, lasting liberation.
Or are we going to use it as grist for the mill, as Ram Dass would say, to help us grow and expand our consciousness?
I mean, I thought I understood it 5 years ago, and here I am 5 years later, and I just got another snippet of it.
Let's do our work. And as a team, I feel we can really support each other.
So if that's you and you're into using what is being presented to you as fodder for your own spiritual personal growth and development, then you are in the right place.
We need the support because it's tough going sometimes, but I do also truly believe that the rewards are great.
People don't have the courage, don't have the vulnerability, and I think it's quite amazing that it's happening now.
Thank you all for watching. I personally am so inspired to have this conversation.
I think it's very wonderful to know that there are people out there that are really focusing on the feminine and helping to make it a more healthy energy to come through us.
I would like to inspire more people to go there, hoping for a better world.
I feel that this is really, really important to talk about because it's such a blind spot, both in ourselves and also in our culture.
We want to work with that. It takes great courage and vulnerability and strength, and it's also one of the most exciting journeys that I've come across.
And the conscious female really wants to bring all of this out into the open so that we can really find our true selves.
When we do evolve, when we become more aware, become more clear, then more wisdom, more love, more sweetness also can shine through.
And be the amazing channels that we are.
I do know the more conscious I have become and the more awake I feel that I am, the more I feel love in all of my relationships.
And to finally put the unconscious me to rest, because actually she told me she's getting very tired.
The conscious female is a co-creator of her reality.
I had no clue back then, no clue. And I just want to thank Ciara for this, and also thank myself, because it's a lot of work putting the unconscious me into check.
She knows that it's all part of her creation, and she takes full ownership of that, without exception. The transformational conscious arts and their mastery guides us there.